Once you hit 60, hygiene mistakes stop being about looking a little rough around the edges. They start being early warning signs your body is quietly sending you months before anything shows up on a lab report. It's not really about how often someone showers. It's about a handful of small routines nobody thinks twice about that quietly tell me more than a checkup sometimes does. So today, I'm walking you through 9 mistakes, why they matter more after 60 specifically, and exactly what to do about each one, starting right now. Number 1. Neglecting ear hygiene and hearing aid maintenance. People obsess over their teeth and their skin, and their ears just sit there collecting whatever they collect. But hearing aids that aren't cleaned daily build up a mix of earwax and moisture that becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and fungus pressed right up against sensitive skin in a canal that doesn't get much airflow to begin with. I've seen ear infections in hearing aid users drag on for weeks because nobody thought to check whether the device itself was the actual problem. And beyond infection risk, untreated wax buildup or a poorly maintained hearing aid can genuinely worsen hearing over time, which has its own ripple effect on isolation and even cognitive health down the line. Here's what actually helps. Wipe down hearing aids every night with the tools that came with them, and get your ears checked for wax buildup at least once a year. It takes 90 seconds, and it's 90 seconds most people skip for years at a stretch. Second, and I promise this one is more serious than it sounds, letting nails go too long between trims, fingers and toes both. After 60, nails naturally grow thicker, more brittle, and more prone to splitting, which means a nail that's just slightly too long is far more likely to catch on something, tear, or curve inward and dig into the skin. Here's the part most people don't connect. Poor circulation, which becomes more common with age, slows down how quickly any resulting cut or ingrown nail actually heals. What starts as a minor nail injury can turn into a stubborn infection that drags on for weeks, especially on the feet, where circulation is already working against you. My advice: trim nails straight across, not curved, keep them a consistent short length, and if you notice one turning yellow, thickening dramatically, or lifting from the skin, that's not a home pedicure problem. That's a doctor visit. Third, and this is the one nobody wants to talk about, rewearing the same underwear, bra, or workout clothes multiple days in a row before washing. Laundry is a chore. And if something doesn't look or smell dirty, it's tempting to squeeze one more wear out of it. But skin folds under the breasts, around a waistband. Anywhere fabric sits tight against skin, trap heat and moisture. Add a layer of fabric that's already carrying yesterday's sweat and bacteria, and you've created ideal conditions for yeast infections and a skin condition called intertrigo, which shows up as redness, itching, and sometimes a raw, broken-down patch that stings the moment water hits it in the shower. It's one of the most common skin conditions I treat in my patients in this specific age group. It's uncomfortable, it hides and folds people rarely inspect, and it's completely avoidable. The rule I give my own patients: if it sat against skin for a full day, it goes for wash. Moisture-wicking fabric is worth the extra few dollars if you're active. Number 4, not washing hairbrushes and pillowcases nearly often enough. Your hairbrush collects oil, dead skin cells, and whatever product you're using every single time you run it through your hair, and most people clean it maybe twice a year, if that. Your pillowcase is doing the same job overnight, except now it's pressed directly against your face for 7 or 8 hours straight. For skin that's already thinner and slower to heal after 60, that nightly contact with a buildup of oil and bacteria can trigger irritation, breakouts you wouldn't expect at this age, and in some cases, a scalp condition called folliculitis, which is essentially infected hair follicles. It sounds minor until you're the one dealing with it. Here's the easy part. Wash your hairbrush weekly with warm, soapy water, and swap your pillowcase at least twice a week. If you can, keep 2 or 3 in rotation so it's never a question of whether one's clean. Fifth, and I'll keep coming back to this one because it matters more than almost anything else on this list: letting oral hygiene slide as habits shift in retirement, or not cleaning dentures the way they actually need to be cleaned. When your routine changes, meal times move around, you're traveling more, you're simply out of your old schedule. Brushing and flossing are often the first things to get shortened or skipped entirely, but the mouth is connected to the rest of the body in a way people underestimate. Bacteria from poor oral hygiene has been linked to bacterial pneumonia, to worsening cardiovascular disease, and to complications with diabetes, because that bacteria doesn't stay put, it travels through the bloodstream. And if you wear dentures, they need an actual daily cleaning routine, not just a rinse under the tap, because bacteria builds up on denture surfaces just as easily as it does on natural teeth. I've had patients come in with infections that made no sense, until it turned out the real culprit was sitting in a cup by the sink every night, never actually scrubbed, twice a day, non-negotiable, dentures included. Sixth, staying in wet swimsuits, sweaty gym clothes, or a damp bathing suit for hours after you're done exercising or swimming. This one's become more relevant, not less, as people get more active in their 60s and 70s. Walking groups, water aerobics, tennis leagues, all wonderful for your health, and all of it means more time spent in damp fabric. Wet fabric held against skin for an extended stretch softens the skin's outer layer and creates exactly the environment fungus and bacteria thrive in, particularly in warm, enclosed areas of the body. It's the same underlying mechanism as mistake number 4, just with a different trigger. This one just takes a habit shift. Change out of anything wet within 30 minutes if you possibly can, and let swimsuits and workout gear dry completely before you wear them again, not just overnight balled up in a gym bag. Seventh, not taking rings off regularly, especially a wedding band that hasn't come off in years. People treat rings as permanent, but skin underneath one gets zero airflow all day, every day. Moisture, soap residue, and dead skin get trapped in that narrow band you can't see, and it can turn into redness, irritation, or a low-grade fungal patch that people mistake for a rash. Here's the part that actually worries me more. Fingers change shape with age. Arthritis, fluid retention, decades of wear on the joints, and a ring that fit fine for 30 years can quietly get tight enough to restrict circulation without you ever noticing day to day. I've seen swollen fingers end in an ER visit just to get a ring cut off. Simple fix. Take rings off at least once a week to clean underneath and check the fit. And if it's leaving a groove or feels snug more often than not, get it resized instead of waiting for it to become an emergency. Number 8, brushing your teeth but skipping your tongue. Bacteria coats the tongue's surface all day long, and it's a heavier buildup than most people realize. It's actually the biggest single contributor to bad breath, more than the teeth themselves. But here's the part almost nobody connects. That same buildup can dull your sense of taste over time, and a lot of people chalk up food tasting flatter than it used to as just getting older, when part of it is sitting right there on the tongue. It takes 10 seconds, a few strokes with a tongue scraper, or even just the back of your toothbrush every morning. And number 9, cleaning your ears with cotton swabs. Most people would argue this one isn't a mistake at all, it's just basic hygiene. But a swab doesn't remove wax so much as shove it deeper into the canal, packing it down toward the eardrum instead of out. This gets worse after 60 specifically, because earwax naturally becomes drier and harder to clear on its own with age. So the ear is already fighting an uphill battle before you add a cotton swab to the mix. Push too far or too often, and you're also risking scratches to canal skin that's thinner than it used to be, or in rare cases, real damage to the eardrum itself. Wipe only the outer ear with a washcloth. And if wax feels like it's building up, a few drops of mineral oil or an actual cleaning from a doctor beats a swab every time. So those are the 9 hygiene habits I notice almost immediately after 60. I'd love to know which one of these caught you off guard, or which one are you already planning to fix the second this video ends. Drop it in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.